Employee benefits, insurance coverage, all of that stuff really confuses me. And as I'm trying to navigate it, I of course want to put y'all on to what I learned. I feel like all of those things really connect to various dimensions of wellness. And so it's only right that I do it on my channel. This kicks off the first of a series called For Your Benefit.
It's true. You make my body feel loose. You make my heart go boom.
While I'm really excited for this series, it would be bogus if I didn't address the reality that millions of Americans lost their health insurance and their benefits just in the span of a year. And I have seen friends and family members who have been affected by this. And I really wanted to start this series by addressing those individuals that have experienced job loss or are, their job security isn't really, which for everybody, I'm gonna be honest, unless you're an entrepreneur, but even then it's like a little iffy. I wanted this video to be for you all. Not sure what just happened, but I want this video to be for you all, and I want to kind of address what the options are and explain some definitions that I sometimes get caught up in, even with my employer benefits. So if that is something you're interested in, keep watching. First, I want to cover the 3 options that you have if you lose your job and still want to maintain health insurance coverage of some sort. Number 1, there's COBRA, and that's the Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, which essentially allows for you, if you work for a company of 20 plus employees, to continue to pay for your health insurance for a period of time after losing your job. Now, I want to be transparent about COBRA because when last year I was working for myself, and I also, at the beginning of last year, I was working for myself. I was also working for a co-working place. And they gave us an option to have health insurance coverage through the COBRA Act or through COBRA. And I personally didn't need it at the time because I was 25 at the beginning of the year. There was a short period of time where I didn't have health insurance, but then I got my current full-time job. And so that all worked out like 2 months after. But when I read up on COBRA, I was like, this is not sustainable. One, you have to opt in within 60 days of losing your job. 2, the average cost for COBRA is about $600. So you have to have that money either put aside or immediately hop into a part-time job or a consistent, space of income in order to pay that amount every month. And I didn't really understand how somebody who just lost their job would be able to still pay for it. Obviously, again, I'm just explaining the options, but that one is a little bit tricky because it's nice because you still get to maintain whatever benefits you had before, which especially if you have a family or other dependents, like that can be really nice to keep your healthcare services and prescriptions and things the same, but it's also very costly in comparison to what you would pay as an employee. The lighting's just gonna be funky today, y'all, because there's clouds out of nowhere. Like it was perfect lighting and then now it's not. So whatever, we're just gonna keep rolling with it. Your second option are public plans, which are Medicaid and Medicare. Medicare is for those individuals that are 65 plus, and then Medicaid is for individuals with a very low income and they get state or federal coverage from that benefit. The thing I'll say about Medicare and Medicaid is that a lot of times the coverage is super specific and you have to really look and do research on what, health institutions, medical institutions you'll be able to access with it, what services are covered. There's a lot more research that you'll want to do when it comes to the public options because, again, that is accessible to a lot more people. And so there might be some limitations around it. However, it's another great option that exists, especially if you do not have coverage at the moment. Another option is the marketplace, which they have federal and state coverage options through the marketplace. And that I think has a 60-day enrollment period after you experience job loss. And I think what's important for that is that you just do your research and also kind of check your financial health at the moment. Because again, that can be costly as well. A little bit different from COBRA, but also it just has like some more, I don't know, expectations of the individual that's applying for the coverage. So now I kind of want to transition into talking about some definitions that would be helpful to know, especially as you're exploring the marketplace. And I say that because I mentioned that knowing your like financial health status in order to afford the different coverage options on the marketplace will be essential when you're actually selecting it. It's a little bit more manual. This is something that not only those who lost their jobs would have available to them within 60 days of, I guess, the termination date or when they let you go. But this will also be something that entrepreneurs or just different people will use if they don't have coverage through their employers. So one question that you want to ask yourself is, what's the maximum amount that you can afford to pay every month? And that number is what you call it, your premium. So when it says like you got to pay that $300 or whatever per month, or as you add different people to your plan, that is the amount that is basically going to be expecting you to pay per month. That does not mean that is covering the different services. That's when we start getting into the next definitions I want to cover. So next I want to talk about your deductible. Your deductible is the amount you're expected to pay before your coverage kicks in. So even though I have employee benefits or coverage, health insurance through my employer pays for my health insurance, in quotes, and I'll talk about this in a separate video, but I have a high deductible health insurance plan. And so what that means is I think my deductible is like $3,000 or $2,000 something. So that's the amount that I'll pay. And then once I reach that amount, then I'll start paying what is called a copay. So that's the amount you're expected to pay for your health services after the deductible max has been reached. So let's say my copay is technically going to be $20, but up until I pay the $3,000. So let's say I go to the doctor, which this is a true story. I went to the doctor one day and they said I didn't have a copay. Granted, this was my first doctor's appointment after I got this new insurance coverage. Usually I pay a $20 copay, but that was because I was on a PPO plan. Again, I'm going to explain all of this in a different video. This is just me talking at this point. And so I'm like, okay, cool. No copay. This is great. Like, awesome. I must, have a great insurance plan. Child, I go and I get a claim from my doctor that said $193. I'm like, wait, what? And so that $193 once paid then knocked my $3,000 deductible down to whatever the math is, minus $193. I ain't doing the math right now. And I'm like, wow, okay. So I need to slow my roll or make sure that I understand all the different appointments that I need to make. And what are your routine healthcare services? And what are the cost estimates on those? Because that's what you're going to have to pay out of pocket really out of pocket. And, so that's something you really want to think about. Now, then when you move to your copay, that's when you reach the max deductible, and then it starts becoming like a very fixed amount for the different services. So again, you want to know what services do you normally get, or what prescriptions do you have on a regular basis that you're going to have to pay for. That's what I mean about checking in on your finances and kind of going back and seeing like, what all did you do or use when you were employed or when you weren't self-employed, if there's any entrepreneurs that are listening to this. So I think those are two really important things. There's also coinsurance, which coinsurance is, I believe, a percentage that you would pay. So it's basically like a co-pay, but it's actually the percentage cost that you would cover after the deductible max has been reached. So that's a little bit different because a copay will be a fixed amount. Let's say I go to get a follow-up exam after I went to the doctor after my deductible's been reached and now it's $20. Cool, but a co-insurance is like a percentage, and I don't know the exact math, so I have to do a little bit more research on that. Or I'll share like whatever resources I'd use to research this. There are tons of articles out there about these things, and I'm sure there's some like explanation videos, but I just kind of wanted to make it a little bit more digestible on YouTube. And so I hope this first video was helpful. I want to talk about other things like breaking down the different insurances, different annual exams you should have or service or checkups and things like that, as well as just like navigating how to find various doctors. I think I have a lot of experience with that, especially moving to a new city. And yeah, I'm excited to share more with you all. But as always, if you have specific requests or topics that you want me to cover, specifically in this series, which this series won't be back to back to back, I'm going to still mix in my other videos, but I would like to get this done like, in the first half of the year so that people know what exactly to expect when it comes to these benefits throughout the year, because you want to kind of have some routines on an annual basis. If you have any ideas, comment below, but also hit that subscribe button if you're seeing this, because I know a lot of y'all be watching my stuff and don't subscribe, and it's like, that's kind of bogus. Then also turn on your notification bells, because I haven't really navigated or figured out how I want to tell people I'm coming out with the new video. Maybe I'm still learning the platform, and I'm trying to do better this year and engaging with you all and letting you know when things are posting. However, the bell, I don't even know how to do that effect when people be like, ding. Yeah. Turn on your notifications and like this video so that we can get more people learning how to use their employer benefits, or how to navigate the health coverage system, if that's what it's even called. That's about it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.